The reason Kamala Harris doesn't talk about policies is because she doesn't actually have any, or at least the one she has, she's plagiarised from Trump himself. It was Trump who came up with the idea of removing taxes from tips. Kamala Harris now has adopted that policy. It was Trump who came up with a child tax credit of $5,000. Kamala then announced a child tax credit of $6,000. And of course, it was Trump who wanted to build a wall. And now Kamala claims that she will build a wall. But it's not just policies that she's plagiarising. She's also plagiarising other people's writing. Her 2009 book, Smart on Crime, which details her great successes and her philosophy as a prosecutor, contains large chunks lifted not just from other authors, but even lifted from Wikipedia. JD Vance called her out. Have a listen.
I saw today, actually, a story that Kamala Harris apparently copied some significant chunks of her book from Wikipedia. So if you want a president with their own ideas, vote for Donald Trump. If you want a president who copies her own ideas from Wikipedia, vote for Kamala Harris.
Now, I should point out, Caleb and Liz, Kamala Harris has said she will respond to those allegations as soon as her team loads somebody else's words into her teleprompter.
Look, it's true that if this woman had an independent thought, it would die of loneliness. Because this is what she does, right? She can do very well as long as she's reading from a teleprompter, much like Joe Biden, actually. So no change there. But here's some of the read receipts that people have dug out. In the left-hand column, you see there her book, an excerpt from her book. And on the right hand, you see where she got it from. In many cases, it is word for word. And she's accused of doing this in at least 12 sections of her book. Now, the New York Times, typically being the New York Times, went into damage control mode and tried to frame this as just nasty right-wing people coming out baying for Kamala Harris's blood. Their headline read, "Conservative activist seizes on passages from Harris's book." I mean, by the sound of that, you'd just think that someone was, going after her unnecessarily. But the read receipts on this are absolutely inarguable. These are copy-paste instances of plagiarism. And I love that JD Vance has brought this into the international spotlight, because while Chris Rufo, I believe his name is, had tried to get this out, he was just being attacked by the mainstream media for pointing it out. Someone like JD Vance says it, and all of a sudden it's thrust into the international spotlight.
I have to say, though, I'd rather she'd be plagiarising than using whatever weird ideas her brain could come up with. Like, for heaven, we know that she can barely think or talk straight. I want someone else to be feeding her ideas and her to be copying them. Can you imagine what the United States would look like if she did what she's actually got going on up there?
Gee, it's a sad day when you'd prefer her to quote Wikipedia than her own independent thoughts. My
Hey, at least I could go on Wikipedia and write things. Maybe Kamala Harris will steal them.
You'll be their next unofficial speechwriter.